Hi everyone, welcome to our mixed level yoga class. We continue to explore the meaning of Saucha, which is the first niyama. Niyamas again are practices that we do to connect deeper with our inner beings or our core being. And Saucha is often translated from Sanskrit as purification or cleanliness. I'm going to read a little bit from our Root to Rise Yoga blog of what I wrote about it. It involves healthy habits of keeping our bodies and environment clean and our minds free from harmful thoughts. In relation to the body, it's being mindful of what you put inside, like ingest, and on your body to optimize its well-being and ability to be a temple for your spirit. For your environment, it's clearing away clutter and maintaining a physical space around you, whether it be at home, in your car, at work, or even the greater environment in nature, so that physical space is conducive to open energy flow, peaceful interactions, and inner calm. And for your mind, Saucha includes practices like regular meditation and discerning what you focus on to develop clear perception, living consciously and evolving in awareness. So here are 3 self-inquiry questions that you might prompt yourself in exploring Saucha personally. 1, what are my daily habits for keeping my body clean? That could be from brushing your teeth to there are yogic practices like drinking a tall warm glass of water with lemon in the morning first thing you get up to help flush the system, or the neti pot if you're familiar with Ayurveda. 2, what are my regular habits for keeping my environment clean? From your immediate environment to your outer environment that we all share. And 3, what are my daily habits for purifying my mind? So as we get into our bodies, it can be such a wonderful means of decluttering the mind. As we centralize our focus, we sharpen our tool of concentration. And then as we use the breath and various techniques of breathing to bridge the mind and the body, our inner and outer being, we can further calm the nervous system to be clear of chatter in the mind, especially harmful thoughts. And then at the very end, we have that space to sit in quiet, to really connect to their inner being and observe our minds in meditation. So let's practice. Find a comfortable seat. Shift around just a moment to really get rooted through your left and right sitting bones. You might even use your hands to just pull back the flesh around your glutes to really feel the bones at the bottom of your pelvis, rooting into the earth. And so that with that rooting comes a rising of energy up the spine to sit a little taller. You might give your shoulders a few rolls, your head a gentle turn. So as I mentioned before I turn on this recording, our physical practice is going to focus quite on the throat energy center, Vishuddha chakra, located at the neck and known for, Vishuddha translates as purity. So it's our ability to be pure with our communication, to speak our truth, to express ourselves fully, but also communication involves listening. So our capacity to hold space for the truth as well. So we're going to start with chanting. I'm going to set the timer here as we chant the sound of Om for 1 minute. So I really encourage you, since you are all on mute, and I'm actually going to turn up this music a little louder so that you can chant along with it. It is actually 438 hertz. Hopefully you can hear that a little louder. And remember that the chant of Om has 4 parts to it. Ah, U, and then a slight pause So continuing one after another at your own pace of breath. We're also going to use that to extend our breaths as well. So let's take a clearing breath before we begin. Inhale through the nose, fill up. Open the mouth. And 1 minute of ohms. Here we go. And that was already a minute. Let's begin to breathe into the belly, focusing on gently expanding the abdomen and drawing the navel in towards the spine as you breathe out. And if it's feasible for you, like you're not congested, see if you can just breathe through the nose so that we create some warmth through the breath. Into the belly and exhale through the nose. Now you can continue with sustained breaths like this, or we're going to transfer into breath of fire, Kapalabhati breath. And again for 1 minute. And this is stoking the digestive fire called Agni, but it's also the fire of purification, as it's taught in the yogic teachings. And with that, if you'd like to add a kriya or physical action, you can extend your arms straight at about 60-degree angles with the thumb sticking up towards the sky, stretched, and the other fingers curled in, where you feel an active stretch between your first finger and thumbs, just like that. And the shoulders are relaxed, the spine is tall but not rigid, the face is relaxed, and you're breathing into the belly like this. So it's a pumping action. Each time you breathe out, the belly bounces in towards the spine. And each time you breathe in, it's a passive, quick breath. So mouth is closed and you're just breathing through the nose rhythmically. So I'm going to set the timer for 1 more minute of this. Ready? Begin. Halfway there. If you can, speed up your pace. Take a deep breath in. Hold your breath. Think of lifting your pelvic floor as you draw your lower belly in towards the spine, up towards the heart. As you keep your eyes closed, exhale through your mouth slowly as you bring your thumbs together to touch overhead. Good test of spatial awareness. And then let your palms turn face down, out to your sides and onto your lap. Pausing to observe the effects of that. Pranayama. That kriya is actually extracted from Kundalini Yoga, and it's called Ego Eradicator Kriya. Nice way to get out of the mind. Let's continue with Ujjayi Pranayama, or victorious breath work, where you sustain your breath equally in and out through the nose, so mouth is still closed, while softly narrowing the back of your throat to create a gentle whispering sound that you can tune your attention to. So inhaling deeply through the lungs, belly, and exhaling as the breath brushes past the back of the throat, exiting the nostrils. Now continue to listen to and balance your breath. And as you open your eyes, please find your way up to stand. And we're going to interlace the fingers behind the lower back to come into a forward fold. So if you'd like to use a strap, if you feel any resistance in the front of the shoulders here, you can grab a strap and hold it with your thumbs turned to the outer sides of your body like this. Otherwise, if you are clasping your hands, try to get the heels of your palms to meet. Step your feet apart, a little wider than hips distance. Parallel your second toes. And as you inhale, coil your chest up. Open your throat by tilting the chin back. And as you exhale, bend your knees generously and begin to fold forward with a long spine, completely dropping your skull. Now, as we stay a little longer, listening to the breath, you might like to sway your spine gently side to side, begin to loosen all of it besides your neck. Continue to reach your arms forward, away from your lower back with a slight bend in your elbows to help you also lift your shoulders up away from your neck. You might also find it loosening for your neck to softly shake your head no a few times, nod your head yes a few times. Let your weight tilt a little heavier forward towards the balls of your feet. And now as your belly stays glued onto your thighs, see if you're able to tilt your sitting bones a little higher up as the crown of your head completely falls. A lot of space in your neck here. Continue to reach your arms forward. Let's take 3 more breaths in this bound version of Uttanasana, standing forward fold. Now, as you exhale, plant your fingertips forward, either onto blocks or on the ground ahead, and then continue to lengthen crown of your head towards your front wall. Slide your shoulder blades down your back, firm your belly up towards your back as though you were in plank pose, as well as feeling your quadriceps engaged, so they're lifting your kneecaps slightly without locking the knees. Again, you can bend the knees here any amount. Now step your left hand front and center just below your chest. Raise your right arm towards the sky. Now keep your 2 hips leveled and begin to turn your chest to face your right wall. As you breathe in, stretch your spine further forward through the crown of your head. A lot of space in the neck here. And as you breathe out, continue to rotate your chest open to the right. Feel the lift of your right fingertips. Help to broaden the right side of your chest. And then all across your wingspan, take a wide inhalation. Exhale, continue to twist. 1 more deep breath. Bottom of the exhale, replace the left hand with the right. Feel your lower back with your left palm, level out your hips, and elongate your spine to trace the center line of your mat. Breathe in. Shoulder blades down your back. At your waistline, twist to the left. Raise your left arm up. Palm facing left wall. Inhale, lengthen top of your head towards the front wall. Exhale, continue to spiral your chest open to the left. A few more breaths. Feel your left collarbone lengthening away from your sternum, reaching its energy all the way through your left fingertips. Let's take 1 more deep breath. At the bottom of the exhale, lower your left hand. Heel toe your feet, hips distance apart, parallel. And as you inhale, circle your arms to rise all the way up, hooking your thumbs like an eagle puppet. And as you exhale, ground to your feet, reach your tailbone down between the heels, and coil your chest up. In the standing back bend, let's take a few more breaths. Slide your shoulder blades down your back ribs. Wide inhale across your chest. Lifting your sternum, open your throat, and lengthen through the sides of your waist. 2 more breaths. With an exhale, bend your knees, open your arms, and fold forward. Inhale, press the ground of your shins, lengthen halfway, drawing your heart forward. Exhale, lower the fingertips, step your left knee behind you. Untuck the toes. Legs hips width apart, front knee bent just over the heel. Root down through the 4 corners of your right foot. Raise your arms and spine into Anjaneyasana. This time, cactus, bend your elbows apart and broaden your chest. Walk your shoulder blades down your back. Elongate your tailbone down and forward towards your inner right heel. Plug your right thigh bone deeper into the hip socket. Feel your left hip bone come forward. And then lift to your crown. Begin to tilt your heart up. Open your throat. 3 more breaths. Lower your hands to frame your right ankle, either on the ground or on blocks, half split. Curling up your right toes, scissor your right hip back to whatever degree you can straighten your right leg, and bow on the inside of it with a feeling of a flat back. Can you feel a natural space between your chin and chest? As you're actively lengthening the crown of your head down the center line of your mat. Last 2 breaths in Ardha Hanumanasana. Step your right knee behind you. And let's begin a few cat-cows. Inhale, draw your chest through your arms and coil it up. Open your throat as you tilt your chin towards the sky. Exhale, look down and contract your belly, tucking the tailbone to around the back. Take at least 3 more cycles of breath at your own pace. When you're ready to, use an exhalation to lead your hips up into downward facing dog, tucking your toes. And as you arrive in downward dog, give yourself a few breaths to arrive. Like if you want to take any organic movements or right away hold still, up to you. Feel that you have a stable foundation as you're spreading your fingers wide and flat, pointing both index fingers forward to parallel each other. Feel the space around your neck and how much you're facilitating it by rolling your triceps towards the ground and lifting your shoulder blades onto your back ribs, completely letting your head drop. Let's take 2 more deep breaths in Adho Mukha Svanasana. On an inhale, glide forward into the top of a push-up, plank pose. Pause for a few breaths here. As you stack your shoulders over your wrists, gaze 1 foot ahead of your hands, right up the midline of your mat. From back to your heels, lift your lower belly, and draw your tailbone towards your inner heels. You have the option of lowering your knees for added support. So we're going to lower through a modified vinyasa. Listen carefully. As you breathe out, lower your knees, glide forward, tuck your chin to the floor and stick your tailbone up high. Tailbone up high, elbows hugging your side ribs. Now slide your chest, belly, pelvis onto the ground, rolling your shoulders back and down. Inhale to cobra. Press down to the tops of your feet. Tuck your toes, either on all fours or legs straight. Exhale through plank pose. Keep contracting the belly to lift the hips into downward facing dog. Bend your knees, lift your heels high, look beyond your hands. As you exhale, step to the top of your mat into a forward fold. Feet hips distance. Inhale, press with your fingertips and lengthen your spine forward halfway up. Exhale, fold in. Firm down through your feet. Inhale, raise your arms, leading with the chest. Hook the opposite thumb on top, if you can remember which, the eagle hands, and coil your chest up. Open your throat. Take another 3 breaths. So feel as though your tailbone were an anchor, seeking the earth right between your heels, rather than tilting further behind you. Lift your back ribs away from it and hug in your front ribs. Shoulder blades down the back. One more deep breath. As you exhale, bend your knees, open your arms, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen, chest through the upper arms. Hands to the earth or block, step the right knee back, untuck the toes. With legs hips distance, front knee just over the heel, root down through the 4 corners of your left sole. Sweeping your arms forward and up, rise into Anjaneyasana. Again, cactus, bend your elbows apart and soften your shoulder heads down. Lifting to your crown, lengthen your tailbone forward towards your inner left heel. Plug your left thigh bone deeper into the hip socket. Let your right hip bone come forward. And as you take a deep breath, feel the broadening of your collarbones, a welcome smile across your chest, floating your heart space and throat towards the sky. Another 3 breaths. With an exhale, lower your hands to frame your left ankle, whether hands on blocks or the ground. Half split, curl up your left toes as you flex the foot. Scissor your left outer hip further back to whatever degree you'll straighten your left leg. Inhale, lengthen your sternum towards the front edge of your mat, gazing just ahead of your left foot as you're bowing in to exhale. Conscious of maintaining the open space between your chin and your chest. Ardha Hanumanasana. One more breath. As you plant your hands on the earth, step your left knee back. Again, for at least 3 rounds of cat-cow. On an inhale, glide your chest through your upper arms, then coil it up. Open your throat as you look up. As you exhale, contract your belly, dropping your head to round. Keep going. And when you finished at least 3 rounds of Vidalasana, cat-cow, use an exhalation at the end of rounding your back to toe your hips through the drawing in of your navel into downward facing dog. This time holding still, steadying your gaze, listening to your breath. As you draw your navel in towards your spine, inhale, glide forward into plank pose, knees down or legs straight. Let's take that modified vinyasa again. As you exhale, lower the knees, drop your chin to touch the floor as you hug the elbows towards your side ribs. Stick up your tailbone, then slither your chest, belly, and pelvis to the ground, coiling the chest up in cobra. With an exhale, Tuck your toes, press up to your plank. Continue to lift your hips back, downward facing dog. A couple of breaths. Bending your knees, look beyond your hands. At the bottom of your exhale, this time walk or float to the front of your mat. Forward folds. From down through your feet, inhale, lengthen forward, halfway up. Exhale, fold in. Circle your arms, inhale, rising, chest broad and buoyant. Exhale, your hands together at your hearts. Taking 2 rounds of half sun salutations, we'll inhale and then we'll exhale an Om as we fold. So the inhales are to prepare, the exhales are to create the vibrational sound, really activating that throat energy center. 2 rounds of half sun salutations. Arms by your sides, from down to the 4 corners of each foot. Inhale, arms overhead, to Om, to fold. Om. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Again, folding with an Om. Om. Inhale, rise. Arms overhead. Hands together with an Om. Om. One more round just like that. Inhale, arms overhead. Folding with an Om. Om. Inhale, half lift. Folding with an Om. Om. Inhale, rise, arms overhead. Hands together with an Om. Om. Please bring your feet together to touch, so the big toes are touching, heels are a sliver apart. 3 breaths in chair pose. So draw your knees together, sink your weight back towards your heels, perhaps try to graze the ground with your fingertips, keeping your hips that low before you raise your arms forward and up. Steadying your breath and gaze. Glide your shin bones back so that your weight is heavier on your heels. Draw your tailbone down and lift your heart. With an exhale, hinge forward to fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Float into Chaturanga or step into plank to lower forward, then down through Chaturanga. Choose to come all the way down for Cobra or halfway down in Chaturanga, flipping your toes into upward facing dog. Breathe in. As you exhale, draw the navel in to toe your hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Inhale, raise your right leg slowly behind you, keeping your hips leveled. As you exhale, bend your right knee towards your nose, rounding your back. Set your right foot gently inside of your right hand for a high lunge, keeping your feet parallel and hips distance. Root down to your feet, inhale, slowly rise into crescent pose. Backstroking your arms, interlace your fingers behind your lower back. If that's difficult to do here, instead you could place your hands on your lower back with your fingertips pointing down. If you have your hands clasped, trace your knuckles down your left glute, perhaps down your left hamstring, and drawing your tailbone down, lift your back ribs away from it to avoid compressing your lower back. And then begin to coil your chest up, tilt your chin slightly back, opening your throat, another 3 breaths. Raising your arms straight up again in crescent. Cactus, bend your elbows apart and cross your right elbow over the left. For eagle, either hook your thumbs or wrap your forearms and palms. Drawing your shoulder blades down, lift to your crown. Elbows to the height of your shoulders. Press your forearms gently away from your face. Now steady your gaze ahead. We're going to shift the weight entirely onto your right foot, entering full-on eagle pose. Or a modification could be chair pose, 2 feet together. Coming into eagle, drag your left foot forward, flex it, and cross your left leg to wrap over the right, sitting a little lower like chair. So here you want to stabilize your pelvis by keeping your hip bones facing forward. If you're tucking your left toes behind your right calf, you'll probably need to scissor your left hip slightly back. Tall upright spine. Let's take at least 3 more breaths in Garudasana. Now as we pass through Warrior 3, paralleling the spine and left leg to the ground, you could keep your arms in eagle or join your hands in prayer position in front of your chest. Unravel your left leg slowly as you flex the foot. Tilt your torso forward as you extend your left heel towards your rear wall behind you, tracing the midline of your mat. Turning both hips to face the ground, lift your lower belly and create a long horizontal line from crown of your head tailbone to your left heel. We're going to eventually step the left foot towards the rear of your mat and cartwheel the arms open into Warrior 2. So as you're ready to, use an exhalation to very slowly transition, gently landing the left foot so that your right heel intersects the arch of your left foot. With the arms wide open, steady your gaze just past your right fingertips. Feel the alignment of your thighs at your hips. Your right sitting bone rotates underneath your body as you bend your front knee just over the heel, facing forward. The top of your left thigh bone firms towards the right wall behind you as you completely straighten your left leg and slightly turn it inward. Spine tall, shoulders relaxed. Let's take at least 3 more breaths in Virabhadrasana 2. Rooting down through both feet, straighten your right leg for reverse triangle. Flip your right hand to face up and then lift the sides of your torso before sideways bending towards your rear wall. Left hand lightly lands on left leg as the right arm reaches overhead. Drawing your navel in towards your spine, feel your center alive with support. 2 more breaths. Deep inhale. Exhale, lower your hands into plank pose and continue to lower into Chaturanga for a full vinyasa. Inhale into Cobra or upward facing dog. As you draw the belly in to exhale, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. 2 more, resteadying your breath. Now inhale, slowly raise your left leg behind you, keeping your hips leveled. Exhale, round forward, bending left knee towards your nose. Quietly land your left foot just inside of your left hand for a high lunge. Feet are hips distance and parallel. Root down to your feet and rise up slowly into crescent pose, squaring your hips forward with a tall spine. Reaching your hands behind you, if you can remember which, switch the cross of your thumb and index finger on top as you clasp. If you're not clasping, you could also place your palms in your lower back, fingertips face down. If your hands are interlaced, trace them down your right glute, maybe down your right hamstring. As you coil your chest up, be mindful to lengthen your lower back. Open your throat and gaze slightly up. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Reaching your arms overhead, back to crescent lunge. Cactus, bend your elbows apart and melt your shoulders down. Crossing your left elbow over the right, either hook your thumbs or wrap your forearms in palms. With your elbows at the height of your shoulders, gently press your forearms away from your face. As you steady your gaze, let's begin to shift your weight onto your left foot, flexing your right foot before wrapping it around the left. Sitting like chair. The modification is, I just found one, to have your feet together in chair or to lower your right toes just outside of your left foot like a little kickstand. Breathe here in Garudasana. All right, so visualize before you act on this transition. You'll make your way through Warrior 3 to land very, very slowly into Warrior 2. So keep a hang time in Warrior 3 as much as you can. You can keep your arms here in Eagle or join your hands in prayer in front of your chest. Slowly unravel your right leg straight behind you as you flex the foot. Lengthening your spine forward. Find a long horizontal line. From crown of your head, tailbone to right heel. Lifting the navel, square your hips to face the ground. And moving slowly with mindful breath. Cartwheel your arms and gently step the right foot back. Warrior 2. Aligning left heel to the arch of your right foot and turning your right leg slightly inward. With arms wide open, tall, spacious spine. Steady your gaze just past your left hand. Feel your left sitting bone roll underneath your body as you stack your front knee over the heel. Firm the top of your right thigh bone behind you towards your left wall as you firm the outside edge of your right heel into the ground. Let's take another 3 breaths. Rooting down through both feet, straighten your left leg. Flip your left palm to face up. Lengthen your spine, then sideways bend towards your rear wall in reverse triangle pose. Landing your right hand lightly on your right leg. Reach your left arm overhead. Feel your breath softly brush against the back of your throat, stimulating the region of Vishuddha Chakra, throat energy center. One more deep breath in. Exhale your hands to the earth through plank into your own vinyasa. Let's meet in downward facing dog. Resting anytime you need. Now bending your knees, look beyond your hands. At the bottom of your exhale, walk or float to the top of your mat. Let your feet touch. Then inhale, lengthen forward. Exhale to fold. Bend your knees to touch. and inhale into chair pose. Begin to lower slowly your pelvis onto the floor. Separating your feet about hips width. In fact, if you do have a block, please use the skinniest width and hug it right in between your thighs firmly. Then your feet can be separated just as wide apart as your knees are. See that your feet are parallel, round the four corners, spread your toes, and then extend your arms forward with your palms face up. Draw your shoulders down, lift your heart up, keep your throat open, and let's take a few slow breaths to lower onto our backs. Once you are on your back, landing your arms down by your sides, slide your feet back until you could almost touch your heels with your fingertips, but not, just almost. Hugging the block between your thighs, let's prepare for just one round of bridge pose. We're gonna go into more throat opening postures. So as you plug the backs of your shoulders, the outsides of your upper arms, and the soles of your feet into the earth, tilt your chin slightly away from your chest. Keep your throat open, the whole posture. Lifting your hips slowly, continue to breathe deeply, and lengthen your thighs forward, keeping them parallel. Bring energy into your hamstrings, as if you're dragging your heels back towards your glutes. Don't actually move your feet, but just feel that kind of contraction in the backs of your thighs while you stretch your tailbone further forward towards the space between your knees. Walking your upper arms closer together under your back ribs. Keep your arms straight. If your hands meet, maybe interlace your fingers. Tilting your chin back. See if you can take at least 3 more deep breaths in this really nice, long, expanding posture, ribcage opening pose. Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. With an exhale, when you're ready, slowly lower one vertebra at a time onto the ground. Removing the block from between your thighs, separate your feet wider than hips distance. Open your knees apart just as wide as your feet, and take a few breaths to windshield wiper your shins left and right together. Breathing in one direction, breathing out the other direction. Several more times. Drawing your bent knees into your chest. Give yourself a few rock and rolls forward and back, forward and back. Maybe you build up momentum to gently kick the legs overhead as you roll back, lifting the pelvis a little higher. And then we'll eventually land sitting upright with the feet in front, preparing for inverted tabletop pose. So it's basically when you're on hands and knees, but it's inverted. So the belly's gonna face the sky. Let's start with the fingertips facing your feet, just behind you. When we lift up the pelvis, you'll wanna create a tabletop out of your torso and thighs so that your ankles land directly above, or your knees land directly above your ankles and your shoulders directly above your wrists. So spread your fingers wide, have a nice surface area for your base that is your palms and the base that is your soles. And then contract your hamstrings to lift your pelvis, reach your thighs forward, tilt your chin back, open your throat, but slide your shoulder blades down your back too. So at least, if you can, 5 breaths, but 3 to 5 breaths. If you want to stay a little longer, that's fine too. See if you can add a lion's breath or few. Inhaling deeply, sticking the tongue out, and exhaling with a mouth and eyes wide open. You could even cross the eyes as it's done traditionally. And then when you're done and you're back to sit, just give your hands a little rotation at the wrists. Loosen up your wrists. We're going to take one more inverted tabletop or Pursvottanasana, which is inverted plank. But we're going to turn the wrists or the fingers to face behind you, so we get a different stretch in the wrists and forearms. Now you could do the same pose again, just the difference is the direction of your fingertips, or to set up for Pursvottanasana, which is inverted plank, you'll want to have your legs straight. Soles of the feet are going to press down into the ground. And as you press down to your soles and palms, you lift your pelvis, shoulders stack right above wrists, and again you tilt the chin back, lengthening your tailbone towards between the heels and paralleling your feet and thighs. 3 to 5 breaths, maybe some more lion's breaths. And then when you do, come to sit. A nice stretch for the wrists is to bring the hands into your armpits like you're about to do the chicken dance, and then let your elbows bend downward. It's pretty intense. So the less the bend, the less intense. Breathe in deeply. Slowly exhale. Deep inhale. Slow exhale. One more breath. Find a comfortable way to sit, and we're going to just stretch the neck a little bit more. I'm going to mirror you here. So extend your left arm out to the left, like your hand is saying stop. So flex at the wrist, bring a lot of energy into the fingertips, pointing up towards the sky, all fingers together, and then use your right hand to gently direct your skull to drop towards your right shoulder. Now, root down through your sitting bones, draw your navel in and up, lengthening your lower back so you're not dumping into it, and then let your shoulder head soften down. Now breathe wide across your chest. Exhale out through your left palm, through the heel of the palm, as though you're shooting spider webs towards your left wall. Little spider person action. 3 more breaths. Now, if you want to add a little neck movement, use your right fingertips to traction your skull as you gently look down, tilting the chin towards your right armpit, and then you gently look up towards the sky. Slowly looking down towards your right armpit, and slowly looking up. Perhaps one more. Keep the left fingers energized towards the sky, and then release. Come back to center. Before switching sides, inhale, rotate your shoulders forward and up. Big sigh as you release the shoulders back and down. Ha. One more. Deep inhale. Ah. Now extend your right arm out to its side like you're saying stop. Really flex at the wrist, fingers together, energize fingertips towards the sky. Left hand helps the skull on the right side to drop towards your left ear. Root down through your sitting bones, lift the lower spine from the pelvis. Soften your shoulders down. Relax your face. Breathing deeply through your nose. Ujjayi pranayama. If you want to add some movement, use your left hand, just its weight, to to traction the movement and slowly look down towards your left armpit. And slowly look up towards the sky. A few more times. Notice if your right hand is becoming lax. Keep that energy up to your right fingertips. Shoot those spider webs out of the heel of your right palm towards your right wall. And then as you come back through center, let it go. So I would like to bring us into an inversion, whether it's shoulder stand, and only practicing it if you have no issues in your neck or your shoulders. If you do have issues in your neck or shoulders, take supported shoulder stand with 1 or 2 blocks. First, I'll walk you through the supported version, and then those of you that want to take the full-on version, I'll walk you through that. Unless you already know how to practice it safely, you can come right into it on your own. Supported shoulder stand, you place the prop right underneath your sacrum, where you can feel stable and relaxed, no discomfort here, to lift your legs straight up. If you want it a little higher, stack 2 blocks. So the wide width is across the mat. A lot of surface area across the sacrum. And that's it. Now if you're coming into a regular shoulder stand, you want to be careful not to flatten your neck onto the floor. You want to maintain its neutral curve. So you'll walk the elbows really close to your side ribs and plug the elbows into the floor. Your hands are going to catch your lower back. So you're going to, either you can roll a little bit or just use your hands to help lift your glutes and then walk your hands down to your lower back with the elbows plugging into the earth. You want to tilt your chin back away from your chest to help maintain open throat and natural curve of your neck. Notice that it's called shoulder stand, so you're not putting the weight on your neck, you're putting it on your shoulders, your head, your upper arms and elbows. You want to lift through the balls of your feet, feet together, pulling the ankles up so that you can create as much as possible a vertical line, stacking these major joints, your ankles, your hips, your shoulders. Now, some of you might find your hamstrings are warm enough to lift the legs overhead into halasana or plow pose. If you have a block overhead that your toes could land on or some kind of prop, that can be helpful if you have tightness in your hamstrings. And here, if you want to add, like you might do in bridge pose, straightening the arms forward and clasping the hands, if that's available for you. Another variation of halasana that can be soothing or calming is to bend your knees and use them to hug your temples. When you're ready to come down, place your hands on your lower back. Slowly, I like to round, so bending the knees towards the chest. Slowly lower the upper vertebra, middle spine, and then lastly the tailbone. Take a moment if you want to hug the knees in, rock side to side, or take a supine twist, or come into happy baby pose. A few breaths. So those of you that were in a supported version of shoulder stand, please gently lower your feet if you haven't yet to remove your props from under your sacrum. One more throat focused posture is fish pose, a really great counter balancing posture for shoulder stand and plow. So to enter fish, straighten your legs forward. Bring your palms face down under your glutes so that your thumbs touch. Press down with your forearms and elbows and relax your feet, but keep them generally together, legs straight. Start to puff up your chest and tilt your chin back like you're trying to see the wall behind you upside down. Feel the stretch at your throat. Some of you might land the top of your head on the floor. Just take it to the degree that you can and see if you can stay for 5 deep breaths. Again, option to take lion's breath, sticking out the tongue with big wide exhales through the mouth. So the Sanskrit chant you're hearing right now, Sat Nam, means true self. Sat is from the root word for truth. It's a recognition of your core being. It's like a calling to the pureness, the truth that's within you. And when you're ready to come down, one more time, give your legs a big hug, give your body a big hug. Maybe even round in and tuck your chin towards your chest because we've been opening it so much. Take another deep inhale. This time fill up, hold the breath in. See if you could sip in a little more air. Maybe squeeze your body a little tighter. And as you open your mouth, unfold everything onto the earth. Let everything go. Arriving in Shavasana, feel free to use any props to offer your body comfort and support. Closing your eyes, letting go of controlling your breath, letting go of doing, and honoring this stillness. As we stay a minute longer in Shavasana, I'd like to share a short excerpt from Yoga and Psychotherapy, the Evolution of Consciousness. In Patanjali's system, which is the Yoga Sutras and the use of the 8 limbs of yoga, The mind is likened to a lake. Like a body of water, it is potentially calm and crystal clear. But the thoughts, modifications of the mind, stir it into activity and obscure its true nature. These thoughts or modifications are called vrittis and are compared to waves appearing in the body of the lake. They may arise from the lake bed, like memories, or from the effects of the outside world, like sense perceptions. When the waves are quieted, the water is clear, and one can see its innermost levels through it. If this process of calming and quieting is brought to perfection, the water becomes completely transparent, and the inner man, the highest consciousness, comes into evidence. And we practice this in the process of meditation. So for those of you that like to join me sitting for 5 minutes in silent meditation, please allow your body to guide you into a gentle way it needs to move, eventually into a comfortable seat. Sitting in a way that facilitates calmness in your breathing, calmness in your body, so that you can observe your mind with curiosity and non-judgment. I'm setting the timer now. Expanding your attention to your body. Begin to move your fingers and join your palms to meet at your heart. So again, in self-inquiry, what are habits to practice in keeping our bodies clean? Habits to practice in keeping our environment clean, and habits to practice in keeping our minds clean. Saucha. Let's close with one Om. Take a deep breath.